citizenship would not begin until we can certify that the border is operationally effectively secure. Now, the proposal that we are looking at with certain guidelines are that people would be giving a legal status here. But in order for them to have a path to citizenship, they would have to pay fines, they would have to have a background check, they would have to learn English, they would have to get in line behind everybody else who came to this country or applied for a citizenship, a green card. They broke the law, so they have to get in line behind all others. Now, there are 11 million people who are living in this country, as we know. And this, I think, is a way, there is a path to resolve this issue and get our border secured and get this issue behind us. And I'd be glad to answer your questions and comments on this and any other issue that is facing you. Yes, ma'am. I see you. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I would like to say thank you so much, Senator, for coming in today and letting us speak what's on our mind. The two issues that are on my mind are obviously close.
I hope we have microphones. They don't have microphones.
I don't think so. I have a that resonates, Senator.
Yes. Could I just mention? There is, stay where you are.
Okay.
There is a rising number of what we call OTMs, other than Mexicans that are coming across the border. Now, the majority of those OTMs are Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, etc. But there are a number who have been apprehended who are from countries that, exactly. And
do you know the number? Do you know the number, Senator?
I do not know the number, but I know this, that if you have a way of getting into this country and you can find that way by going across our border, you're going to do it sooner or later. I mean, so it is a serious, in my view, it is a national security threat. The fact that there is a rising number of other than Mexicans and other than this hemisphere.
May I ask your office to circle back with me on what that number might be?
Yeah, I'll get back to you. They say it's relatively small, but I mean, it only took, what, 19, I think.
Judicial Watch reports 59,000, and 9/11 we have one terrorist that we don't know where he came from. The second question is, I want to thank you on Thursday for voting against cloture, against the Chuck Hagel. We really appreciate that. And to that end, we have heard you say that Chuck Hagel is an unqualified candidate for Secretary of Defense. Therefore, will you and will your friend Lindsey Graham do all that you can to filibuster or block the confirmation next week when you go back from recess? No.
Shall I ask for a show of hands? We must respect everybody's rights here very quickly. The President of the United States was reelected, and the people spoke. And I won't comment on, I remember when Mo Udall lost when he was running for the nomination of the Democrat Party, one of the very funny men that ever served in public office, and it was his last primary, and he was done, and he stood out and he said, "The people have spoken, the bastards." So the fact is that the president was reelected. That has nothing to do with what Mo Udall said. And presidents do have the ability to name the people that they want on their team. Now, we had many questions from Senator Hagel. I think you know that I received some criticism because of my questioning of Senator Hagel. Senator Hagel came to Washington as a right-of-center, Nebraska, heartland of America senator, and I watched him change over the years to the point where he said the surge was the worst mistake since the Vietnam War, that George W. Bush was the worst president since Herbert Hoover, and he became very, and he made comments about Israel. He voted against sanctions against Iran, which has convinced me which has convinced me that he is not qualified to be the Secretary of Defense. And having said that, sooner or later, because of American politics, Republicans will be in the majority and we will have a Republican president. I think we need to give that president. I don't think that there's anything wrong with me voting against him, but to prevent a vote about him on him, I think is something that very honestly, I would not like to happen to me if I had been president. By the way, after I lost, I slept like a baby. Sleep 2 hours, wake up and cry, sleep 2 hours, wake up and cry, all the way to the back. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I too want to thank you for your decades of service to the country and your honorable and especially hard service in the Navy and your imprisonment and stuff. I'm very humbled again to be in your presence.
Thank you.
I have a question on Benghazi. I appreciate the fact that you've really taken the lead in trying to uncover the details of Benghazi. So actually, I guess my question is a couple-fold. You know, as a taxpayer, we put out a lot of money to have one of the finest military forces in the world. We pre-position our forces in various parts of the world. And we have lots of special operating forces who are definitely qualified to react in a situation like that. Now, as a citizen, if I'm following this correctly, it was hours before everyone died. And so have you come to the answer on why we did not respond? Was it a command and control issue? Was there a decision made at the top? Was it a pre-election, you know, unfortunately a pre-election? I mean, what can you tell us about why we didn't use our military in Benghazi?
I think it was a very long series of mistakes that were made and ignoring the clear warnings that were there, and then I'll tell you, and look you right in the eye, and after that I think there was a cover-up. We still don't know. We still don't know, and I'll be glad to hear your response. We still don't know who those individuals were that were taken from the consulate to